Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, Vikas.
Afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Excellency.
Sorry? दस मिनट है ना आशीष अभी?
So, but ambassadors have joined, so we can start. In fact, Ambassador of Cote d'Ivoire were also there.
आप चेक करो, मैं बैठा हूँ. Let me know.
ठीक है, sir. Otherwise, yeah.
How is it going? Otherwise, today start कैसे हुआ? अभी तो उनके तो they must have started the day now. The Africans. Connection
Sir,
है मेरा?
yes, perfect, sir. Sir, currently the ambassador has not joined.
Okay.
We just
How is
waiting.
it going? Otherwise, today start कैसे हुआ? अभी तो उनके तो they must have started the day now. The Africans. अभी कोई काम नहीं करा ना? Connection है मेरा?
Yes, perfect, sir.
कार्ड देखा हो?
Sir, currently the ambassador has not joined.
Okay.
We just waiting.
Otherwise.
Sir, good afternoon.
Afternoon. How are you, Nishan?
All good, sir. How are you, sir?
All well. All well.
We already have High Commissioner, sir, from Ghana, and we are just expecting Mr. Thangal from Ambassador from Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, sir.
In fact, he was there, sir, just 5 minutes back. I think he just got disconnected.
कोई बात नहीं. वो इंटरनेट का चलता रहता ना ये सब.
And just for the information, this session is going live and is being shown at our auditorium in the virtual trade show, which is being seen by more than 500 people as of now.
Okay. No, but buyers have started coming in because उनका तो अभी they must have just got the morning now.
No, they are
Sir,
more
started,
than,
sir. Started.
there were more than 600 registration since morning, sir.
Okay.
Different parts of Africa have different time zones.
So we have Excellency from Cote d'Ivoire, Thangal sir now. I think we can start. Ashish sir, please.
Thank you everyone for joining for this interactive sessions. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome you all at this important business session and webinar on trade and investment opportunities between India and West Africa, organized on the sidelines of Indo-Africa e-exhibition virtual sourcing show, which will be continued from 1st of September, that is today, till 3rd September. Friends, today's session has been organized by Federation of Indian Export Organizations and Apex Trade Promotion Body of India with the active support of our Indian missions and embassies. The key objective of today's business session is to understand various business opportunities in the prevailing economic environment and roadmap and strategies to be followed by the Indian companies to enhance our trade and economic ties with West African nations. We have pleasure and privilege to have with us eminent speakers and panelists for today's session. We have with us His Excellency Mr. Y.S. Thangal, Ambassador of India to Cote d'Ivoire, His Excellency Mr. Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana. From the Federation side, we have Mr. Khalid Khan, Chairman FIO Western Region. For the information of the dignitaries present, I would just like to mention that this session is going live and being seen by more than 600 participants, both from India as well as Africa. May I now request Mr. Khalid Khan, Chairman FIO Western Region, for his welcome remarks, please.
Very good evening to all the Indian delegates and very good afternoon to everybody on the Africa side. Shri Y.K. Silas Thangal, Ambassador of India to Cote d'Ivoire. Shri Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana. Exporters from India, delegates from Africa, ladies and gentlemen. On the behalf of Federation of Indian Export Organization, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you at this technical session on trade and investment opportunities between India and West Africa, being organized by Federation of Indian Export Organization on the sidelines of Indo-Africa e-exhibition. It's a very new initiative that we have taken at FIO, and the result that I was asking my colleagues at FIO say it's been very good since morning, and it's the first few hours of exhibition. So I'm really proud of FIO. At the outset, let me begin with expressing my gratitude to His Excellency Shri Y.K. Silas Thangal, Ambassador of India, Cote d'Ivoire, and His Excellency Shri Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India to Ghana, for gracing the occasion with their presence. I wish to convey my sincere appreciation for the efforts of our embassies in Cote d'Ivoire and our High Commission in Ghana for their support to FIO in making this virtual event a reality. Friends, I would like to share a quote by Pliny the Elder, a Roman writer, who said that out of Africa, always something new. I can't help but agree more to this quote, as my experience tells me that whenever you visit Africa, you discover something completely new, be it the cultural experience, the marvelous geology, the fantastic people, or the exquisite cuisines. There's always something new in Africa to discover and experience. And this has also been my practical experience because I have been to Africa a lot, many times. Friends, Africa is the oldest continent in the world and is also known to be the mother continent, as our ancestors were tracked back to the living 50 lakh years ago in Africa. If we put the juggernaut size of Africa in perspective, it is 9 times the size of India, has almost the same population, and is 80% of India's GDP. Africa is made up of 54 countries, out of which 40 countries are witnessing recovery in the economies. I see an immense potential in Africa, and as an Indian, I feel we are more connected to Africans as our cultural values are very similar. We both have a largely informal culture and also share a pre-colonial past. People in Africa value relations very strongly, so do we. West Africa, comprising 15 members of Economic Community of West African States, called as ECOWAS, and Mauritania, is the largest region in Africa with highest number of countries, and is a region enriched with vast amount of mineral resources, and is among the fastest growing regions in African continent. The region accounts for 25% of total GDP of Africa. Major mineral resources available in the region includes gold, clay, cement, limestone, crude petroleum, bauxite, diamond, manganese, natural gas, aluminium, iron ore, steel, uranium, etc. The macroeconomic performance of the region has been good, with many West African economies witnessing high growth rates. West African countries have started various reforms in recent years by making starting of business easier and less costly. Traditionally, Indian investments in Africa, both public and private, remain limited to Eastern and Southern African countries, mainly due to its geographical proximity and high number of Indian diaspora in these countries. However, in the last decade, Indian investments in Africa have expanded considerably, both in geographical spread and in the coverage of various sectors. West African region has emerged as an important partner for India, both as export market and as import source. This is reflected by the synergy in our bilateral trade relations. India's export to the region amounted to US dollars 7.90 billion, and imports from the region amounted to US dollars 16.10 billion in 2019. Over the year, the export to the region has seen continuous growth. However, despite efforts to boost bilateral relations, India's share in the global imports of the ECOWAS region remains around 7%. This although shows and encourages us that Indian products are in demand in Africa, but it also suggests that there lies an immense unexplored potential for Indian products. India's top exports to the region are electrical machinery and equipment, mechanical appliances, cereals, pharmaceutical products, cotton, plastics and articles, etc. Friends, I'm sure the virtual expos initiated by the FIO for Africa region with focus sectors like food and agri sector, building and construction sector, pharmaceutical and healthcare sector will develop an active partnership with the African countries. I'm glad to announce here again that large number of African buyers in the focus sectors are attending this expo and have scheduled one-to-one B2B meets. I also must again thank all our Indian missions and embassies for the kind support. With these words, I would like to thank you all for joining us today in this session and looking forward to hearing the valuable insights from our dignitaries present. I'm sure the information will benefit Indian and African delegates in further cementing our bilateral trade. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and giving us your details. Friends, we are in fact very honored and privileged to have with us His Excellencies from Cote d'Ivoire and High Commission in Ghana. May I now request His Excellency Mr. Y.K. Telas Thangal, Ambassador of India to Cote d'Ivoire, for his keynote address, please.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Namaskar, Assalamu alaikum, and good morning to you all. Good morning from us, but good afternoon to you all. Very, very happy to be connected with all of you during this new normal situation that we are in. Friends, COVID-19, of course, is one of the biggest challenges mankind has ever faced on the global scale, at least in our lifetime. With no vaccine or treatment currently available, it looks like that we all have to still learn more about this invisible virus which is creating havoc in our life. In this context, I would like to thank FIO for bringing all of us together to discuss and take forward our cooperation on top of this COVID-19. Dear colleagues, even during unprecedented human existential crisis, trade and commerce must continue to flow in order to save not only our livelihood, but life itself. No doubt, it is going to be not easy, but together we can find a way out is what I'm confident. Like connecting ourselves virtually like this to work out what we can do together with what we have is what is going to make a difference on the ground. Given the unique character of India-Africa relations, which is symbiotic in nature and best defined as partnership with the spirit of developing together as equals. enhancing our understanding about each African countries, about its productivity, diversifying the skills and knowledge would go a long way in unlocking the opportunities which are there for both India and Africa. Besides the G2G development cooperation, several Indian companies as indicated by Mr. Khalid, have entered into joint ventures in Africa. Indian companies have the experience, technology, and capital to unlock Africa's opportunity and create value for each government. This private sector's investment would be critical in preserving the job and livelihood in Africa, especially during and post-COVID-19. However, in the interest of time, I would not like to delve into detailed statistics of India-Africa cooperation and trade figure, but would like to identify certain key sectors for win-win cooperation. As highlighted already, Africa is a land of opportunities with great resources and including all the ingredients for successful business establishment and also to grow big. In this context, I would like to highlight three most important or critical areas for cooperation between India and Africa as it exists today: agriculture, healthcare, ITC or the digital divide. Ladies and gentlemen, agriculture is the most important occupation in Africa, with 2/3 of African population depending on it directly or indirectly for their livelihood. It will also provide a bulk of employment, income, and food for the rapidly growing population, as well as its supply raw materials for agro-based industries. Food security remains one of the biggest challenges facing the African countries. Today, Africa imports food items worth $35 billion a year, and this is expected to touch $110 billion by 2025. This is despite the fact that 60% of the uncultivated arable land in the world is in Africa. In addition to huge working population, which is expected to touch 1 billion by 2030 from the current figure of 705 million. I am confident that I speak for every one of us when I say that there is no other country but India who can meaningfully cooperate in agriculture and try and work together to meet this demand of $110 billion odd market in agriculture products. India and Africa can come together and work on critical reforms in agriculture to address the low productivity and to enhance the acreage of irrigations. Like low production in Africa could be due to small holdings of lands, lack of technology inputs, low fertilizers, poor quality seeds, and mechanization of farm. In all this, Indian companies and India has huge capacity to extend the cooperation and take forward this critical area of economy for win-win cooperation. Next comes health sector. India and Africa have fruitful partnership in the field of health. India has been a source for reliable quality medicine and vaccines at affordable cost for a large part of Africa. The cooperation in the field of healthcare has contributed significantly towards Africa's effort to achieve Millennium Development Goals in the area of combating HIV/AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, and also reduce child mortality. Telemedicine is another major initiative for cooperation in health sector with the sole objective of extending facilities for high-level expert consultation by Africans, patients and doctors with top-level Indian medical practitioners and hospitals. This initiative is even more important and relevant in this present context. Thus, cooperation between India and Africa in the field of healthcare and pharmaceutical must further intensify and carry forward with great vigor. Like, for example, talking about Cote d'Ivoire, Indian pharmaceutical companies enjoy lion's shares in the local market, but with a huge potential to expand. And healthcare, talking about healthcare, yes, normal tourism to India is illogic considering the wide geographical distances and also non-availability of direct flight. But medical tourism from this part of the world to India has been increasing. Of course, this has been arrested because of the COVID-19 right now. So this is another area where we can meaningfully cooperate. Third comes the ITC or digital divide. Ladies and gentlemen, information is a major development resources, just like human resources, natural resources, and financial resources. The world is moving rapidly towards knowledge-based economy and information societies driven by the developments in information technology applications. Information technology and telecommunication innovations presents opportunities for leapfrog strategies that would accelerate the development of the entire continent and have a meaningful cooperation between India and Africa, as there are great complementarities even in this field. Of course, from the Indian government perspective, India has launched the second phase of the Pan-Africa E-Network project, which is, we call it the E-Vidya Bharati and E-Arogya Bharati network, which is going to benefit the entire Africa, not only West Africa. So, in this three field, I think presents one of the biggest chunk of our complementarities where we can have a great cooperation. Now, what I would like to say is India and Africa partnership goes beyond strategic concerns and economic benefits. As pointed out by Khalid Bhai, that our relation has been long-standing with appreciations of one another's cultural ethos and liking for one another. Same is with our technology. Our technology is compatible. Our costs are more cost effective than any other products from other parts of the world. But what we need to do is we have to come together and work together. And in this regard, I would like to leave few suggestions for our Indian companies and entrepreneurs who are looking to enter Africa. Generally, as an Indian or entrepreneurs, we tend to look Africa as one. But as pointed out by Khalid Bhai, Africa is a continent of 54 countries with specialities, with weakness and strengths of its own. So we need to understand this and treat each country as a unique thing, and also develop our strategy of coming into each country depending on individual potentials and experiences. Like, for example, if you are a successful businessman in Kenya, that strategy may not necessarily work in Cote d'Ivoire because it is culturally different. Yes, it is an African country, but it's culturally different and way of working is different. So we need to understand these differences between countries. But also, as I said, Africa is a continent of opportunities, great opportunities, and there is a great scope for building your business and growing to multiple times. But along with it comes higher risk. So one needs to be prepared to take risk if you are going to do big in Africa. Without this, then I don't think we will go very far. Thirdly, most of the Indian business as of now in Africa, even in Cote d'Ivoire, mostly they are all traders. They import, export. There are few industrialists as well, entrepreneurs as well, who have set up their things. But what we need to do is Indian business must devise a plan in such a way that there is increasing local value additions in the entire process. By doing so, I think we will not only grow and innovate according to the local tastes, but also will give you that integrity or integration in and assimilation into the local society for you to become a real symbiotic company, Indian company, yet African's innovation, yet Africa in nature. So this incremental local value addition would play another big role in doing so, in growing your business. Thirdly, one most important issue, like all disaster or natural calamities, normally takes away the very essence of life from people. But response by the government, response by the companies, response by the organization to this kind of disaster like COVID-19 often tends to take away human dignity, the most important pillar of life. We must always guard, we must always respect and sensitive to this human dignity and cultural differences, because this issue can be a factor which will make or break one business in a foreign land. So cultural, respecting cultural ethos, cultural behavioral of a country is very, very important, but because we must protect the human dignity. And naturally, in Africa, this issue is even more sensitive than in Asia, because they also are very, very high distant people. So what I would like to say is this is another important land. So as I said, we have huge potential for cooperation between India and Africa. And with this cooperation, I am sure that India and Africa can come together to set up a vibrant agriculture sector and build information society and cooperate for win-win cooperation between India and Africa. So with these few words, I would like to say thank you, Fio, for bringing all of us together. I know I have worked very closely with Fio during my time in China as well. So keep it up, and I hope all of you will also plan to have delegations or participate, encourage your members to participate in events that the embassy organizes here in this part of the world. We remain very active, but of course, because of this COVID now, we are also slightly down, and we're not able to take, but except for this webinars and all that. So look forward to seeing you and meeting you and receiving you in Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have a long association with you, and when you were in China, Guangzhou, you have been very supportive and cooperative in all of our endeavors. We have virtually seen you working proactively for the promotion of trade. We are very thankful to you for your presence and your piece of advice, as well as the suggestions which you have told and in fact suggested for the Indian companies is well appreciated. I'm sure the number of people who are watching today this webinar and which will continue to run during the session will be very helpful and beneficial to the Indian companies. You have rightly said that Africa is a land of big opportunities with great resources that needs to be exploited, and that needs to be utilized by our Indian companies as well as Indian entrepreneurs. I'm sure your suggestions will continue to be a part of our cooperation between the Indian companies. Will continue to be in touch, and we in fact look forward to more of your support in promotion of our India's presence in the African nations. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your rich advice as well as experience, sir. Friends, may I now request His Excellency Mr. Sugandh Rajaram, High Commissioner of India.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir. Sir, you have kept yourself muted, sir. Please unmute.
No, sir, you're not audible.
You're not audible.
Sugandh, you are muted.
Sugandh, sir, you need to unmute yourself.
Sugandh sir is already unmuted, but I think he need a mic.
Oh,
He need a mic because
I think he has audio issue. His mic is unmute.
Can you check now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So, Namaskar once again, and I would like to thank and compliment FIO for organizing the Indo-Africa exhibitions, particularly during these pandemic times when we cannot meet physically, the business stakeholders cannot interact with each other physically. And also to provide the platform like the one which is now during this webinar, to come together for all of us to share our thoughts on how we can deepen the Indo-Africa partnership, particularly with this theme of increased trade and investment opportunities for India and West Africa. So I'd like to compliment FIO for all the efforts. As the previous speakers have mentioned, Ambassador Thangal and Mr. Khan, that there is a huge synergy and complementarity between India and Africa, particularly India and West Africa, when it comes to the availability of huge resources, natural resources here in West Africa, and the ability to work with the stakeholders from India to exploit these resources for the overall national development. At the same time, both India and Africa are culturally and traditionally very rich and diverse. So the businesses here can work together without any inhibitions and obstacles. Having said that, we have seen that in the recent years, there have been increase from Indian side, particularly when it comes to the MSMEs, to come to this region of Africa and look for the opportunities. Now, we'd be very happy once we come out of this pandemic to work together to see that how these enormous opportunities here can be availed by particularly the MSMEs from India. As Ambassador Thangal has mentioned, that there are certain challenges for the Indian businesses. And if we could address those challenges with careful and detailed coordination and planning, I think we all will be very successful in availing these opportunities. The trade between India and West Africa is huge and it's growing very fast. And particularly when we have the disruption in the global supply linkages, global supply chain, I think the Indian businesses and products and services have a lot more opportunities to take advantage of these gaps in the global supply chains, providing the supplies to Western Africa. For the businesses, especially the MSMEs from India, they have the huge opportunities here when it comes to the agricultural development, agro-processing, rural development like cottage industries, water supplies, irrigation, renewable energy in the rural and countryside areas. In addition to that, the infrastructure, mainly the health infrastructure and the connectivity. These are the areas where the SMEs from India could meaningfully contribute and do business in Western Africa. And especially when the governments here are focusing increasingly on the rural and agricultural development, increasing connectivity, expanding the infrastructure. The focus by the national governments here is on increasing the professionalism with the help of technology, focus on digitalization. I think this will give enormous opportunity for the Indian businesses to take advantage of these government initiatives in this part of the in this part of Africa. India has been consistently a committed partner of Africa in its developmental journey. And this is true when it comes to West Africa, which is enjoying huge concessional credit assistance from India. The Indian businesses definitely can leverage this developmental partnership for its benefit when it comes to the sustainable use of our developmental partnership. Once we implement the developmental projects with our concessional credit, it is necessary that these efforts, the spirit of developmental partnership, is sustained through the private businesses, through the association of the SMEs with the fallout of our developmental partnership assistance. Many of the Indian businesses here, particularly in the infrastructure, connectivity and healthcare, are also availing huge buyer's credit from India for the projects implemented by the local governments here. I think this is another area where the Indian businesses which are getting these big projects, infrastructural projects in rail, road connectivity, in creating hospitals, etc. I think this can be leveraged further with more and more Indian businesses and companies come to Africa to take advantage of the increased opportunity for greater integration. Over the years, Indian companies have developed a unique identity of providing or showcasing the ability to do or to execute the projects locally. This is not a mean achievement, because there will be very few businesses or companies worldwide who have got such a successful project executional abilities in Africa. I think this can also be leveraged further with more and more companies from India can enter into these sectors of infrastructural development in Africa, particularly in West Africa, where the focus by the national governments is on the greater infrastructural creation. Very recently, the African Continental Free Trade Area has been unveiled. This FTA is huge. I think this is one of the biggest free trade markets in the world, with 1.2 billion population and close to $2.5 trillion kind of a market or economy. I think this is a great opportunity for the Indian businesses. When they establish their presence here, they can well connected, they can get entrenched, they can get the opportunities in this huge market for them. There are challenges, as Ambassador Thangal has mentioned, and with careful and better coordination, the Indian businesses can overcome these challenges. The challenges are particularly coming out of the local traditions, local habits, local attitudes and approaches. I think since Indian businesses are used to deal with such cultural, habitual or attitudinal challenges in India itself, doing business in various parts of diverse regions of India, I think it would not be difficult for the Indian businesses to adapt to such kind of necessary changes in its business work culture and business attitude when they go to different parts of Africa. There could be challenges with regard to getting necessary resources here, particularly the land. So land acquisition, because of the traditional ownership of the land. There could be challenges with regard to the supply of appropriately skilled workforce. There could be challenges with regard to the market access, because of the local variations which are leading to difference in converting the potential market to the concrete market opportunity. So there could be limitations with regard to that. But all this could be overcome easily when the Indian businesses plan their businesses here, or the work plan when they enter into this region. The Indian missions here in West Africa work very closely with the businesses, both from India and locally. And we all are committed to increase the market access for the Indian products and services in Africa, particularly in West Africa, and to see that the Indian businesses, especially the MSMEs, avail the enormous opportunities to invest in this part of Africa. In the days to come, particularly once we get out of this pandemic, we look forward to further and deeper this engagement. I think as the previous speakers have rightly mentioned, particularly Ambassador Thangal and Mr. Khan, that we have huge complementaries and huge synergy. We need to focus on how now we can work on concrete strategies to do business on a more pragmatic way, where we can really convert these synergies, these opportunities and complementaries into concrete benefits for the both India and Africa. I think this will be our lasting contribution when we think or when we strategize to deepen our engagement with Africa. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Ashish, you unmute yourself.
Ashish, unmute.
Sorry. Thank you, Excellency. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable insights, particularly the challenges that are there that needs to be focused on, and your particular suggestions that it can be really be overcome by strategic business planning. I'm sure Indian companies are used to working with the African nations, and they very well understand, and they would obviously be taking care of that. And with the support of the Indian nations, they will be working more deeply with the counterpart in African nation. In fact, I would like to mention that I have personally visited Ghana once, and in fact, FIU has also organized a focused trade event in Ghana, and we I must apprise that the Ghana companies are really appreciative of the Indian products, and they look forward to Indian products with much acceptability. And with you being there, we can also continue our endeavor and can do more focused activities and trade promotion events. And I'm sure the current virtual event, which is being planned with this focus only, will be continuing in a more focus sectors based upon the feedback of the companies as well as feedback of the missions. Just for the information, Dr. Shirkar would not be able to join because some other meeting has come up. So we would have to conclude the session. Before we conclude the session, I would just request our panelists as well as experts, Excellency, to just say a few last words for the large number of the audience who is viewing this live session. I would request Ambassador Thangal Saab to just say a few words before we conclude. Thereafter, Mr. Sugand and Mr. Khalid Khan.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. Let me just focus on now on the Cote d'Ivoire, as I am based in Cote d'Ivoire. Now, as Cote d'Ivoire, this is a country where agriculture is fairly in advanced stage, because even though there are huge natural resources, including oil, diamonds, and gold, and all that kind of, like any other African countries, mining industry is not really in flourishing here. But the main foreign exchange earner is agricultural products. Like, it is the largest producer of cocoa, cashew, and also largest producer, exporter. Now, India used to be the biggest importer of cashew from this region. Now we have lost out to Vietnam, unfortunately. And of course, we continue to remain the biggest consumer of cashew. So this is a huge area of complementarity. This is the biggest producer. We are the biggest processor and consumer. Now, what better partners can you find? But unfortunately, we are losing it out because we have not come together. Even Indian businessmen have not come together. All the Indian business comes here for buying cashew and cut one another's leg and all that kind of stuff. So we are losing out not to the big competitors, but to a country like Vietnam. So this is really, really sad. So likewise, I would also like to, I don't know how safe or all these things, but I have taken it up this with the Ministry of Commerce also. There is one particular issue where the businessmen out here in Cote d'Ivoire is facing in trading or in doing business with India. Traditional importers from India is migrating from India to other parts because of one government policy, which I have taken it up with this thing. I don't know whether all of you have heard about this IceGate. IceGate website of custom is creating a lot of problems. And I think our businessmen, our exporters needs to see how we can try and resolve. But of course, this is not bad. IceGate itself is not bad, but it is towards transparency. But I think IceGate is, according to the businessmen, I think it is more transparent than what it is required. So this is hurting because India, Cote d'Ivoire, bilateral trade crossed 1.1 billion dollars, which has now dropped back to 800 odd millions, and only in rice, because this country imports about 3 to 400 million worth rice, non-basmati rice, and only in cereal export from India dropped by $60 million. I think we need to check on this one. We need to check on this. Yes, it must be this thing. So one way of doing business is overcoming the challenges is also to tap the Indian businessmen who are locally based here, like the NRIs. Now, our Indian businessmen from India normally sees them as their competitors. That is where we go wrong. So, because if you tapped in the resource of this NRI who are already based here for 30 years, 40 years, they may be a competitor, but if you can work out a place where both of you can cooperate, I think it's they have much more skill or much more tolerability to overcome the local challenges in terms of language, in terms of culture, in terms of doing business. So I think we should try and tap this Indian businessmen who are already based here for long time. Now, in order to do this one, even because as we have increased the business between India and Cote d'Ivoire, now in order to have more trust amongst the Indian or to tap Indian business as such, there was no chamber of commerce and all that kind of stuff. So embassy has brought together few like-minded Indian companies or Indian business who are doing well here to form Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry here in Cote d'Ivoire. Now they are active, they are functioning. I've been trying to encourage them. So even if you don't trust one individual, I think Indian business can tap the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Cote d'Ivoire, because they would be able to suggest, they will be able to find and work out kind of thing, even in terms of arbitration, even if there is a commercial dispute, in terms of arbitrating, in terms of finding amicable solutions. I think Indian people who are based here for many years, for say 40 years, 30 years, they would be a better partner than rather looking for a new one. So entry into any country, entry into any other new places always has a challenge. But I think if you can tap into this one, along with embassy support, I think we would do much better and we can do faster. So this is my another piece of suggestion when it comes down to Cote d'Ivoire. It may not necessarily be true for other countries, as I said, because as I said, because Africa is a 54 countries and each country will have their own speciality. Like only Cote d'Ivoire is an agri-exporting countries, but they are huge importer of food grains, where India has a huge surplus. And unfortunately, our neighbors are taking it over. I think we can beat them left and right in export of rice and other cereals. This is one. And like also as Sugan has said, there are so many areas of SMEs where India can come and work meaningfully, contribute them. But of course, we have to remember that local value addition, to integrate with the market, to have the African taste. Though the Indian product may be Indian, but packaging can become African to attract more. It can go a long way. Only if you package it in Africa, in African style, in African color. These are the small things that can create huge differences. Pharmaceutical is another area. Now, have been trying to work with government and also the Indian companies, but Indian companies are the one who doesn't want to come together here, because each one of them feel that they are competitor of one another. They are not looking at the size of the table where they can create bigger cake, but they are just looking at the piece of cake which is already made on the table. They think that if two people come, they will share the cake. So this is where we have to work together and encourage our entrepreneurs and business, whoever is thinking to come to Africa. And, and this country, I tell you, yes, we do have language challenge because it is a French-speaking country, but many business speaks English. No doubt. Yes, speaking French will have great advantage. But I can tell you, country is a country like Ghana, Ghana and Ivory Coast. It's a jewels in the West Africa. I mean, it's a country where for last 10 years, it has grown at 8% on an average. 8%. Only COVID is going to bring down its growth rate. Maybe they are predicting, say, maybe 3% or so this year because of this 2020, because of this COVID. Otherwise, from 2011 to 2019, it grew at an average of 8%. Now, where does this kind of country provide you for your opportunity to grow at this kind of pace? So, huge property, I mean, huge potential. The only thing is we have to get up and come here, see yourself for yourself and work. Otherwise, only trade queries from Embassy of India, give me the list of importers or exporters, that's not going to work.
I agree, Excellency. I agree totally with whatever you say. You have really touched the right chord, I would call it. By getting the list of importers, the trade will not promote. You have rightly said you have to really test the market of your own. You have to take the risk. In fact, you have to take care of the small petty things, which really makes a meaningful difference in terms of the business. I totally agree, and I understand that the people who are listening, and they would take note of that. And in fact, this can be our continuous communication through which we'll be continuing to get your piece of advice. And I must also compliment you for initiating that ICCI. With your efforts, we are very sure that the promotion of exports and trade will really happen between the two countries. We are really very thankful for your proactive actions in terms of the promotion. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to just request Mr. Rajaram for his final words. Then I'll request our chairman to conclude the session. Sir, your voice is still unmuted, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. There is a change of microphones here. So thank you once again. To just sum up what I said earlier, to further deepen the trade and investment partnership between India and West Africa, I think the Indian businesses need to fill in quickly to avail the opportunities which are created by the disruption in the global supply chains, particularly when it comes to West Africa. for the Indian businesses, especially the SMEs, need to look at the opportunities of value addition here, because the focus here, rather the policy focus is on increased value addition. I think the Indian businesses which have this kind of peculiar experience, and they have the necessary expertise in this, working back home, I think they have greater opportunities to do the local value addition here. Also, there is need to leverage the huge credit assistance that India has been giving to the countries in West Africa. Also, they need to leverage the abilities that the Indian businesses have created here in terms of successful project executions. With the focus on increased or greater industrialization in West Africa by the national governments, and the creation of the free trade area, the African continental free trade area, I think the Indian businesses have now a great opportunity to take advantage of the enormous opportunities being created by these two aspects, that is the increased focus on the industrialization locally and the creation of the free trade area. All in all, we see greater opportunities for the Indian businesses here, and I wish the participants in this webinar and the Indo-Africa exhibitions organized by FIO will give a better understanding for the stakeholders, the businesses from both the sides, from India and Africa, to avail these opportunities. I wish all the participants and particularly FIO the best for the successful exhibitions here. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you very much for again sharing your valuable inputs on some of the issues. We must take care of the concessions being offered by the India to the African companies. We make use of those offers and look for the opportunities in these in the potential sectors. We are very thankful to the Indian missions for the support for this session, and we expect to receive the continuous support for our future endeavors. Thank you very much, Excellency. May I now request our chairman for Western Region, Mr. Khalid Khan, to just sum up the session, please. Or in case he would like to add something. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, His Excellencies, both of you. It was an amazing interaction. I mean, the knowledge shared by Ambassador Tangal and High Commissioner Sugandh has been excellent. I mean, I have been traveling myself to Africa. I've been to most of the countries in West Africa, except for Côte d'Ivoire. I have always missed the chance of being there. But hopefully now, in the period of Ambassador Tangal, I should be there once the COVID is over, and should surely take the advantage of coming to
Côte d'Ivoire.
Côte d'Ivoire, yeah. So I should be there. I mean, we call it, in English, they call it Ivory Coast. Yeah, that's a different thing. Yeah. Côte d'Ivoire is the real French way of saying it. Yeah. And hopefully to be there. I know all the African countries in West Africa, I mean, entire Africa is different. Like how Ambassador Tangal said, if you're a successful businessman in maybe Kenya, you can't replicate the same in any other part of Africa, because all the markets are different, all the geographies are different, all the cultures are different. I mean, going to Nigeria and coming to Ghana are two different aspects. Both are English-speaking countries, but when you're in Nigeria and when you're in Ghana, the feeling is totally different. So you're not too far away from there. And Ghana has been a gateway to a lot of West African countries because of the port, and been there for quite a couple of times to Ghana also. I've also seen over a period of time the attitude from the high commissions and the Indian offices, missions abroad, have taken a different action, because they are more helpful. They have been more, active towards the exporters, and that's a good sign, which is we are looking at. And I'm sure in the years to come, we're going to get a good support from the embassies, because all the exporters from India like to have information of the countries. Basically, I mean, they don't have any other source except for the missions. And I'm sure with very active missions like the Ghanaian mission and the Irish, all the missions, I mean, I've been interacting with a lot of missions, and we've got real good response. As Ambassador Tangal says it should not be just the importer's name and address. You should be a part of that country. Also, I mean, go and look at the aspect of how you can grow together. But at times, sir, in some products it is possible, but in some products it is really not possible that you go out there and invest and see. Like in my case, I'm an engineering exporter. Basically, I mean, I export agricultural diesel engines and engineering equipments from here. So for me, it's basically for Cote d'Ivoire, probably my way of business will be to just find a partner there and start a business and then probably go and invest there. I mean, and see how the business is. Sir, you did mention about the cashew. I mean, I'm aware of it since I've been a part of FIO and in the board of FIO. Cashew Export Promotion Council is also our board member. Cashew is an aspect which we have lost out. I mean, there have been a lot of issues with the Cashew Export Promotion Council have been coming up. Unfortunately, the policies by the government of India has not encouraged them. And that's why most of them, my friends have moved to Vietnam from India for processing the cashews. And that's really strange and surprising. We should look into that and we should get the cashew business back to India because it was a real, we are the biggest consumers, as you said. But unfortunately, we are processing it outside India. That's a loss which we are doing. And sir, about the ice gate, I didn't really pick up what exactly is the issue with the ice gate. But if you really write it to us, sir, we will definitely take it up also. And what is the issue? We will mark it up and we'll see why we are losing business because of the ice gate. I mean, ice gate is something which we thought is promoting India's export because we get all the data and all the information on the ice gate. That may be a reason that is not encouraging the Cote d'Ivoire importers to maybe some reason. So whatever it is, sir, we assure you, we will also add to your issues with the government and probably find out a way. So my only humble request with you both being here and maybe the other high embassies and high commissions hearing us today, sir, marketing in Africa is not easy. I mean, going to Africa itself is not, countries are not so easy to go. And the freight charges that involves in exports from here. So it is a request that as high commissions, as ambassadors, as consul generals over there, so kindly recommend the Indian government to have a special package for exports from India to Africa. And instead incentivizing in terms of maybe freight. I mean, we had it for commodities like TMA and something, but why only for commodities? I mean, goods have to go from India. It can be engineering, it can be chemical. So if we can get some incentives in terms of the freight subsidy from India to those African countries, so that will be a great relief because 2 or 3% makes a lot of difference actually in business with Africa. So it's my humble request that if you all can get together and just put a request to the government of India and the Ministry of Commerce that if you can get some incentives, that will be great, sir. That's all, sir. And it was really nice knowing to you. I look forward to meet you all in person whenever I'm there and interact with you, sir. And without that, I will probably connect you on my mobile phone or on the email and I can take information. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for sparing your time and giving us such an insightful information of both the countries, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We are thankful to all our distinguished dignitaries for their presence and valuable time and to be part of this business session. We'll now officially conclude this session. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.